Good evening, everyone. If you can hear me, can you put a thumbs up in the chat so I know you all can hear me clearly? Just give me some indication in the chat that I'm audible. Okay, the first question which I think you all will see is where are you joining us today from? Before we talk about me, let's understand something about you. So, India, Philippines, Africa, any other country. Thanks, Gisha. Thanks, Deepashri, for confirming that I'm audible. And before we start, just a quick understanding of where I have my audience from. So, India, Philippines, Africa, any other geography? Okay, I think we are getting few votes already in. Suki, do you want to share? I'm sure we would have most of the people from India, but there would be a fair bit from other geographies as well, because I saw that there were folks from Philippines, Ghana, Pakistan. So thank you everyone for joining me today. And we'll get started quickly. So the first poll which I'm asking my team to put up is, do you know me? A simple yes or no in the poll. Do you know me or not? And please be very honest. If you don't know me, it's perfectly all right. I don't expect all of you to know me. And that's how my session will start. So, the very first question I'm asking to all of you is, do you know me or don't you know me? Okay, I have got about 50 votes. I'll wait for a little bit more. Okay, Sylvia does not know me. Suman knows me. Okay. Yeah, Nangwade, good to see you here. Okay. So I have about 100 votes. I'll just wait for a couple more seconds to see if everyone is able to vote. Okay, Manisha ma'am doesn't know me. Okay. Sure. So, Rasuki and Jayashankar, let's just see how many people know me and how many don't, and then we will start it from there. Let's just see the results of the vote. Okay. Rasuki, I think there might be a bit of lag because I'm not able to see the result.
Oh, okay. Priyanka, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Hi. Hi. So we have the result over here with 60% of the people saying no, we don't know you, and rest of
Okay.
them seems to know you well.
That's a great start. Like I would have even loved if more than 60% did not know me, because that's how I'm starting the session, right? So if you don't know someone beforehand, can you make some educated guess just by observing that person? For example, you might not know who I am from before, but there is some information you would have received through my team's emailers when you joined the session, etc., etc. So basis whatever little information you gathered once you got invited to this webinar, or basis what you're observing, like I'm in front of you, I'm talking to you, you can see me, you can hear me, basis that whatever you think about me, whatever information you are able to gather about me, please do write it in the chat. I want to see what you can figure out about me by seeing me, by hearing me, by gathering whatever information you have gathered about me since we sent the invite for this webinar. Do write it in the chat, and that's what we are tracking, because that's how the whole session is going to be. So Sonal is talking about my designation, that I'm Director and CEO of CENTA. Okay, what else? You read it, so it's good that Sonal saw it on the screen, probably, that, okay, my name is Priyanka. I'm Director and CEO. What else? Okay, Rajalakshmi is saying that the best writer brings in new articles. I would request you not to consider whatever you know about me from before. Okay? Try to answer basis what you see, what you hear, or what you know once you got the invite of this webinar. Okay? You seem to be a calm person. Okay? You like to engage deeply. And I would also request some of you specifically to say, why do you think so? If you're saying, I think I look like I'm someone who is calm, why do you say so? And please be writing even the very obvious things. You need not just write about my designation or what I do with center, whatever. You focus on what you can see, what you can hear. I did this exercise with grade 7 kids a while back, and it was a very fascinating exercise. Okay, so I'm starting to get few other inputs which are like good flow of the topic. I'm a good orator. I'm a good speaker. What else? Passionate educator. Okay, patient. You waited for our responses. Okay, other things. Okay, elder sister, great learner. My team, Rastogi, is very thankfully putting some of the points you're talking about on the board so that you can see. I'm a creative teacher, okay, leader. What else? Some of the most obvious things you can see and hear. I'm quite a confident and easy to go person, excellent guide, good listener, okay, an active speaker. Okay, female, yes, Neha. Thanks for pointing it out. Some of the things are so obvious that we don't even think of pointing. Curly hair, yes, that's very visible. I'm a female, that's very visible. What are some other things which you think are very visible or something which you can hear? Very confident, okay. Observer, okay. What else? You're the system of this amazing session, okay. A person who wants to share knowledge with others, okay. What else? Dressing sense, okay. Few more. I'm waiting for some specific things which kids had picked up, and I'm just wondering if you guys will. Okay, interactive. What about what I'm saying? Like, how are you able to hear me? How are you able to engage with me? What am I saying? I ask questions. Okay, good voice, great. What about the voice? What about what I'm saying? Friendly, okay. So let me start giving you a few of the hints. For example, you all know I'm talking to you in English, right? So you know that I know English as a language, right? So you know I'm a female, I dress in a certain way, I have curly hair, I speak clearly, I speak loudly, I like engaging with all of you. That's why I'm doing this session. I know English. Similarly, what else can you conclude? Yes, Umesh, Neha, I'm an English speaker. What else can, and see some of the things you can observe and know as a fact, but can you make some educated guesses? Can you conclude something basis whatever you are observing? Teacher, okay. And Raja Rajeshwari, can you highlight why do you think I'm a teacher? Avid reader. And Jigna, why do you think I'm an avid reader? See, now that all of you are trying to get into the observations which are not direct, it will be very useful to understand why are you saying so? Why do you think I'm a teacher? Some of you are saying I'm a teacher. Why do you think I'm a teacher? And Tripuresh, for example, you're saying good listener. Why are you saying I'm a good listener? Just write some of those explanations of how are you making those guesses. They are very good guesses. Okay, serendipity seeker, I'm not getting your name, but just your tag here. You're saying I'm a teacher because I'm trying to bring out how you think. Very great point. Avid reader, as my conversation skills are good. Okay. having patience, okay, because probably I'm just focusing on the same point again and again. So probably you are concluding that I am patient, okay. I'm engaging students in a simple manner. You are a resource person. And Rajit, why would you say that I'm a resource person? Write your reasons. Write your reasons. And Anita, why would you say taking the team along with you? Don't just say what you think about me. Say why are you concluding that. See, some of the things are very obvious, right? I know English is very obvious. You don't have to write and explain. But if you're concluding anything else, please write why are you saying so. Okay. Radha Rajeshwari is saying that it is very interesting. I'm able to engage all of you. Okay. Okay. Rajalakshmi is saying because I'm trying to get the answers from you in various ways. Very interesting. What else? Okay, Jegna is saying I'm a good listener because I'm trying to ask a question and then understand your answers. Okay, I think someone said I love interacting with children, Babita. And Babita, why would you say so? What in my conversation with you made you feel that I love interacting with children? I'm talking to all of you. You all are adults. You all are adults. From where, from there, why would you conclude that I like interacting with kids? You are conducting the webinar, yes. So that probably tells I want to share my knowledge, and hence probably I am very aligned to a teacher. But why would I like being with kids? Curious to know more and more. Great. You're making us think, and therefore you are a creative person. Interesting. You have started your topic through interaction. Nalini, very good point. I'm trying to develop reasoning and logical ability. What I'm trying to get you to do is observe things, right? And then I'm trying to extrapolate some of your observations related to what you typically know. Okay. Rajat is saying, assuming that you're a graduate from an English medium school. Exactly. That's a very good guess. So, Rajat, for example, you do not know this. You do not know whether I studied from a good English medium school or not. But you are making a very logical conclusion that given the way I'm speaking, most probably I have studied in an English medium school, though you cannot be sure. Very good point. What else? Okay, I'm trying to make everyone comfortable. Kids don't like silent, non-interactive teacher. You're giving everyone okay, very interesting. Very interesting. I'm accepting your views without any judgment. Confidence in speech makes you like a good leader. Awesome. So now let's, while you should continue writing whatever you're feeling about it, let me share something. So a while back, like I think it was Teachers' Day of last year or round about that, I got this opportunity to run a class. So these are the photographs of the class. I do not usually do classes, but this was just one of opportunity which I got through Teach for India, and I met these seventh graders for the first time. Right. So now at least some of you know me, maybe because you have seen my previous webinars, because you see emails from me, etc., etc. Okay, Rahav is saying my voice is little threatening. So yeah, that might come across like that because I'm speaking very loudly. I'm trying to engage you in a certain manner. For some people, it might come across as threatening. That's a good observation, Rahav. That maybe because I'm talking loudly in a certain manner, it is off-putting for someone like you. That's a good observation. So what I was doing with these kids in that classes, they definitely met me for the first time, right? So instead of introducing myself to them like, okay, I'm Priyanka, so and so, I've come to teach you today, I played exactly the same game with them. I stood in front of them. I asked them, do you know me? And obviously, everyone, there was like, no, ma'am, kind of thing. So I asked them, okay, I'm standing in front of you. You can see me, you can hear me. Think about what you know about me. First 2, 3 minutes, silence, total silence. No kid said anything. Like it's so strange to have a classroom full of kids and pin drop silence. But gradually they started saying, okay, some of the very obvious things like you are pointing out. But they also made more observations, because I was just standing in front of them. They made guesses about my age, right? They said that I might be a teacher, and when I asked them why do you think I'm a teacher, they said, if you don't like teaching, why would you volunteer to come and teach us? Which for me was a very good, strong, logical conclusion. It might have been wrong, right? But in that case, what students did was extrapolate whatever they knew about me. Some students made educated guesses about the other languages I might know. Some made guesses about the religion I am from. They made all kind of observations. And then what we did, as I'm going to do with you, is we realized that whenever you meet a new person or you are in a new situation, you think, oh God, where am I stuck? I don't know anything. You still know something. You just need to be observant. If you're observant, if you focus on what inputs are you gathering from whatever ecosystem you are in, you will get some information. Those of you who did not know me before, without my telling you anything about me, just by observing me, just by hearing from me, you figure out so much about me, right? When we do these kind of exercises, right, as we also see on the screen, we always know something through our previous experience and thoughts. So when we observe something, there are some direct observations which we know are facts, right? I have curly hair is a fact. I know how to speak in English is a fact. I am conducting this webinar because I want to, and hence I might like sharing information is a fact. Rohit is saying I use technology very well is a fact. But then many of you made educated guesses, right? You made educated guesses like, if I'm volunteering to do this, maybe I like teaching. Because I started the exercise in an interactive manner, maybe I have experience of engaging with kids. Those were guesses, but those guesses were based on something which you knew, that if a person behaves like this, the chances are ABC, right? But there might be some things which you are just purely guessing, right? Someone might guess that, okay, I seem to have a North Indian name, or I might be having an accent which is typically from North India. So maybe I know Hindi. You don't have any reason to believe I know Hindi, right? But that might be a guess which might be wrong or true. In this case, it is true if anyone would have made that guess, right? So the point we're trying to make is, whenever you are in a new situation, do not think that you don't know anything about it. Just observe carefully, see, hear, feel, and you would find your place in that new ecosystem. You will figure out some of the things which are facts. You will figure out some of the things which you can think basis your experience and hence conclude. And some might be pure guesses. They might be right or wrong, but who cares? Okay. And this is an exercise which kind of worked as a very beautiful icebreaker for me in that session. Like within 10-15 minutes, all the kids were listening very carefully to me, right? They started playing the same game with themselves. So this kind of an exercise can be something which you can use very nicely, say if you are conducting a workshop or if you are doing a conference, right? Or it might be in your school, or you are visiting another school. You just want to get connected to the people around you. You can play this kind of a game with adults, but you can also play this with students to express to them, to show them. So see, it's one thing to tell kids that, okay, you can observe and learn, but it's another thing to demonstrate the same to them. What we did today in past 15 minutes is actually saw that by observation we can learn things. That's a very important lesson which as teachers is very crucial for you to impart to your students, that they should not worry if they don't know anything in the beginning. Just by engaging with something, they can learn it. And curiosity, imagination, interactivity, etc., play a very important role in that. For example, I'll just give you another example related to curiosity. So a while, no, not exactly a while back. It was 7-8 years back. I had recently joined CENTA, and I was doing this volunteer work with a school in Kochi, in Kerala. Right. So I had tried working with multiple schools, but I was just not getting like a class. Then finally a very enterprising principal, and I'm really thankful to her, gave me an opportunity to take a class in her school. What I wanted to teach was math. I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer by education, and I thought maths comes naturally to me. I like maths. I will teach math. But the principal said, no, I don't need a math teacher. I need an English teacher. Can you teach English to the kids? And they had a regular English teacher. So the principal was looking for me as an additional resource person, not a substitute, which gave me a lot of freedom and flexibility to do things whatever I wanted in the class. So now here I was in Kochi, a person who knew English but nothing of Malayalam, the local language. And I had these kids all across various grades who knew Malayalam very well. Their English was broken, right? It was an English medium school, but the kids didn't have the grasp of English. Now, just the sheer curiosity of knowing me who was an almost an alien to them, the way I would look, the way I would dress, the way I would talk, was something which they were not familiar with. So they were very, very curious about me. And that curiosity is what led them to talk to me. And very soon they realized that if they want to talk to me, they need to learn my language. So they started practicing English. Very soon they gave up in me as an adult, understanding Malayalam as fast as they believed in themselves and thought it's easier for them to learn English. And the curiosity of talking to me, the curiosity about knowing for me, etc., improved their English much more than any other language or any other very active teaching I could have done for them. So, this is another power of curiosity or interest or engagement, which is very important for everyone as teachers to build in the students. If you're able to build that interest in the students, lot of your job will become much easier. Right? I'll just pause here for a minute to see if there are any specific questions or comments which any of you have in chat for me. Rasuki, if there's anything which you think anyone asked, maybe we can take up the questions. Otherwise, I can move on to the next segment.
Most of them are sharing who you are. What about that? On
Okay,
all those things, it's coming up still. Yes.
great. I think the session moving a little faster than
Yes.
some of the folks who might be joining late, etc. But no
Right.
problem. No problem. So after we spoke about the language, for example, all of us know that language is just one way to communicate, right? It's I was able to communicate to those kids who did not know English very well, and I who did not know Malayalam very well. We were able to communicate. So it is possible to communicate without knowing the language if the intent is there, if the interest is there, right? So, what are some of the ways in which you think two people can communicate, or like a group of people can communicate, even if they don't share a verbal language? Why don't you put it in your comments? What do you think? What are different ways to communicate in the absence of a common language we can speak? I'll just wait for some of your comments on this. How can we communicate body language? Okay, Anita. Expressions. Okay, what else? Gestures. What else? What else? Sign language. Very interesting. Actions. Okay. Okay. Body language, sign language. What else? Be creative. Be creative. You can see the person, right? You can see the person or whatever the person is doing, and hence gestures, smile, body language, facial expressions, but no language. What else? What else can we do to communicate? If say currently my just imagine that my audio just goes off, there is no audio, for example, in this session, can we still communicate? Can I still run this session if I'm not able to speak to you or you're not able to hear me, or would I have to stop the session? WhatsApp. But Suman, even if I need to interact with someone on WhatsApp, we need to share a common language, right? Miming. Okay. Lip reading, see, lip reading would work if you can understand what language I'm speaking. Okay. And through PPT, see, PPT also assumes that if I have written my words in English, you know English, right? Try to imagine if there is no common language. If I cannot speak or read or understand what you are saying because I do not know your language. Drawing, interesting. Writing also, writing would assume that I we share the common language. Like if I'm writing in English and you don't know English, you'll find it very difficult to understand what I'm saying. But drawing is a very good point. Touch, okay. Picture talk, very interesting. Someone said not possible, Gargi. I think if you're talking still about how to communicate in the absence of language, just see some of the other chat comments where we are talking about how we can communicate in the absence of language. Non-verbal communication, yes. So now let's come to the next part of it. Association of ideas, pictures, illustrations, and movements. Interesting. Okay. Games. But in games, how would I convey to you what are the rules of the games? Your will to communicate, yes. So Radhika, basic assumption is all of these things is that the two-person want to interact, right? If two people do not want to interact, knowing the language is not going to be useful, right? If you do not want to listen to me, you would not have joined the session. And even though I might be a very good speaker, I might have very good ideas, if you do not have the intent to listen to me, you would not have joined the session. And our knowing the same language does not matter, right? So basic intent of communicating obviously should be there. Okay. So I'll just walk you through in that. So this is the same exercise which I did with those students. And this is the same kind of things they spoke to me about, that dance, body language, sign language, actions by hand, gestures, body language, drawings. These are various ways in which people can communicate. If they intend to communicate, they have curiosity to want to know each other and what is each other thinking, etc. Right? See, Manisha, if you're talking about videos, that's also about a visual thing, right? So what and this is some exercise which you can do for fun with again with adults as well as kids, and I'll do this as a exercise with all of you. I will just put my whiteboard on and I'll just request my team to put that whiteboard on, and I will share some stuff with you, right? I will draw something, and what I would want you to do is imagine. If some of you have pen and paper, it'll be more useful. I can probably will wait for 1 or 2 minutes if some of you can get pen and paper, if it's easily accessible to you. Otherwise you would just have to be imaginative and use your brain power to run this exercise. So I will draw out something on the whiteboard. Okay, imagine that you can add anything to the image I'm drawing. Okay, and then write 1 or 2 sentences in the chat to communicate something about your drawing. Don't talk about my drawing. Add something to my drawing which should be attached to it. Right? It's not like I draw something and then you draw something little apart. No. Whatever I'm drawing, you need to attach something to it, but add whatever you want to add to it and write 1 or 2 lines about it. So just as an example, let me just start the exercise by drawing something which is fairly common and simple. You can see this on the screen, right? It's okay. What I have drawn something, is it visible to you?
No, Priyanka, it's not visible. Can we use the pen?
I use the pen. I can see that thing on my screen at least.
Okay, just give me a minute.
Just try again because I'm not sure if the screen is visible to all of you. You're not able to see it, right? Just give us 1 minute to figure this technical issue. I think me and my team are just facing a tech glitch where whatever I'm doing on the screen is not visible to any of you. Just give us half a minute to fix it. So I drew this. Oh, it could be the where I'm drawing.
Where you're drawing right
Ah,
now. Sorry.
no problem.
Can you present the screen instead?
Where how much on the top is the
I
screen?
think you can just go over there and let be you presenting the screen. Then you can do present
Okay.
and share screen. Share screen. And then do this. No? So that it will show again.
Let me try again. I hope it works now. Sorry for this. It's still not. Yes. I think you can see my screen now.
Yes, Priyanka, it's visible now.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
So sorry for this disturbance in between, but I think you can see my screen now. So I have drawn something, right? Imagine that you can add anything to this, whatever you want to add, and write one or two sentences in the chat about whatever you are imagining this is. Be creative. Your teachers, you're supposed to be very creative. Does not matter what subject, what grade you are teaching. Teachers are always very creative. So do add something to this picture. Imagine you're adding something to this picture. Okay, so Sonal is saying draw two vertical lines parallel to each other below it. And what will it become? Cloud. Okay, eyes to the face. Ice cream cone I drew to make a tree. Very interesting. The cloud was full and it started raining. Amazing. Smiling sun. Okay, rabbit. Rabbit would be very interesting. Okay, fill colors. It's a tree which gives shade. Awesome. A pomegranate with a cartoon shape. Okay, let us try something else. So this is a very common picture. So many of you have lot of ideas. Let's try something else. I think you will see something else on the screen very soon. Yes. You see the second image on the screen? Now imagine that I've created this, the second image. Now stop focusing on the first image, start focusing on the second image. What can you do with that? What can you do with the second image? Z shape? Yeah, Priya, it is Z shape. What can you make out of it? What can you make with something which looks like a Z? A torn kite, very interesting. Beak, okay. A man running, very creative. Mountains, angles can be made. That's a maths teacher for sure. Okay. Lightning, very interesting. Okay. Duck, staircase again is a very interesting one. Star which twinkles in the night. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. Now you would see something very weird and completely random, right? This is something completely random, right? I hope you all are finding it very random because I've tried to make it very random. So what can we do with this? Okay, waves of an ocean, fire, very interesting. Thunder, lightning, stormy waves, dinosaur, okay. Forest, fire, river. pushes, like high tides. Okay, okay, Christmas tree, spikes. I would request all of you to read this chat after the session is over to see the kind of creativity which all of you have. These are very very simple, similar images, but you would be fascinated by seeing the kind of imagination all of you have. It is fascinating, like how you all are imagining so many different things. Okay, the last one which we'll play with is a very simple letter B. What about this? Which hat? Okay, I like which hat. Okay, bonfire. Okay, okay, cat. Okay, cat is a simple one. Let's be creative. Let's be creative. Not a cat. Alphabet, yes, it is. Shadow of three beautiful. Okay, that was a previous one, I guess. Butterfly, yes. Sunglasses, okay. Sunglasses is an interesting one. So is sailboats. Between A and C, yeah. Elephant, okay. It's only B. That's right, Mamta. It's only B, but what can you make out of it? 13 reimagined. Ganpati Bappa. Very interesting. Petals. Great. Great. I'll just give half a minute more for some of you to just see all the three, four images and write whatever you want to write before we move on. Two rocks piled over each other. Okay, simple but very interesting. But okay. Kangaroo baby. Oh, fascinating. Panda sitting on a tree. Heart. Okay, heartbeat was the previous one. So then the heartbeat for the previous one is a very cool idea. Okay, two people sitting on a bench. If we turn the paper pinky is an amazing insight. You can make a mouse pick sitting on a tree. Okay, goggles. Yes, collar. Huh. Broken heart. Okay, rib cage from the top. Very interesting. So now let's come back to our session. I will stop sharing the screen, but you need not stop sharing your views. Okay, it's very funny. A chameleon with its tail hanging, the tunnel, the glove. Okay, aeroplane flying, frog with a doll. Three friends holding each other's hands. Stones, shots hanging. I'm sure you guys are having fun doing this. Give me a thumbs up if you think this is an interesting exercise to do with kids, especially the kids who are not very vocal or expressive in the classroom. Do you think you can use this kind of an exercise to make kids open up in your classroom? You are starting a new session, there are a lot of new kids, they are just not talking to each other, etc. Do you think this kind of a session will make them more expressive, will make them open up, will give you an indication of what they think? See, because what you can do as a teacher, depending upon what a kid is doing, it will give you such a good insight into what that kid is thinking, right? So, if the kid is thinking very straightforward play, like what's in your face, versus a kid whose imagination is like completely running wild, and you're just not able to relate to, like, how did you even think of this? Like some of the examples which many of you gave in the chat, I'm like, I want to see how did you interpreted it like this, but you would have done, right? So this is another exercise, and I'm just explaining you some of the ways I included this thing in my classroom is I made a group of 4 5 kids, right? And I said to each group, I will make some random drawing. I was not even being consistent. I was just randomly doing whatever scribbling I wanted in each group's notebook. I would ask them to add something to it, write one line, and as soon as they are done, to come back to me for another drawing. And I told them that I we will do this 5 drawings for each group. And in those 5 drawings and those 5 sentences, they need to create a story. And then one of those students, or two of those students, or whatever combination they want, they need to recite that story in the class. That was my exercise. So the way we start in observation, so even in this exercise we were doing observation and analysis. They observed what I was doing, then they were analyzing how they can interpret whatever I was drawing, they were adding to it, then they were trying to build story around it, and then they were sharing it with others. And the kind of stories which those kids make, I cannot tell you the kind of creativity they had, and a kind of fun they all were having, building on top of each other, jumping in each other's stories. Now this can be run very, like, it's very natural for all of us to be able to imagine this for like primary grade kids. Okay, kids are all having fun, jumping around, sharing things, so on and so forth, right? But I did this with grade 7 kids, and they had a lot of fun. This thing can be built in for an English class, right? For creative writing, but this can also be done in any class to break the constraints or the borders or whatever imaginary boxes we build for ourselves and for our kids. How do you express yourself? How do you collaborate? Those 5 things had to make a coherent story. So it's not like first picture you made something, then you just don't know what to do about it. So you need to collaborate. So when in any class we talk about building 21st century skills, right? We talk about communication, we talk about collaboration, we talk about communication, so on and so forth. And we try to do some of those things in a very project based manner, etc., right? But we can do it in a very fun, simple, single day thing. For example, you are just being like a guest lecturer somewhere, or you just walked into your neighborhood and just did this fun exercise with the kids around. It becomes also a very good way to build rapport with your students. So obviously, as teachers, there is a syllabus which you need to complete, right? But you can also figure out how can you use some of these fun exercises to build as a hook into whatever you are trying to do with your classroom. So what net we are trying to say, as in what I'm trying to say through this session is, learning needs to be fun. Like, it always needs to be fun, because that's the only way to make it like sustainable, make it deep, make it lifelong. Because anything which is fun sticks in our head. And learning will be fun if you as teacher are having fun while you are teaching, right? So try to be creative, try to link various things, try to get kids to know that they can learn anything if they are curious, right? If they're curious about it, if they want to know, if their intent is there, then they should not worry about, oh, I don't know this. And the whole concept of scaffolding, etc., as a pedagogical tool is based on this, that kids or adults can build on prior knowledge. That's how anyone learns. So, just key learning points: help students build on prior knowledge through structured questioning. Engage them in discovery based learning. This is like a project, this is like an activity, but an activity which might not be related to any particular subject, so to say. Use storytelling. Use yourself as a tool. The way you express something, the way you talk, the way you gesture, the way you write something, the way you sign something, the way you stand up, the way you sit down, the way you move around in the classroom, everything is a performance. Everything is a performance. A teacher is one of the most brilliant performers That is what your role is. Okay? Link your classes to the real world. Link your classes to how would they make a new friend in a new city if they do not know how to talk to that person in their language. Jaskirat is saying that she does something similar in her storytelling workshops. Yes, lot of you would be doing something of this sort in your extracurricular classrooms, in your storytelling sessions, etc. What I'm requesting you to see is how can you make some of these things a part of your regular lessons, because that is when learning will be fun every day, every class, for you as well as for the students you are teaching. Any specific questions, except kindly show the previous slide, Sushmita is saying. Can you do that, Rasogi? Sushmita, I think, I hope you're talking about these practical activities for the classroom slide. If any one of you have any questions, comments, etc., would love to hear from you. I know I did. I finished this session sooner than the 1 hour slot. I hope typically the students are happier when the teacher finishes the class early and give them the free time. I hope you all are that kind of teacher who are happy that a session got over sooner than it was meant to be.
There are a few comments and some questions I think we might have missed in the beginning. So I'm just going to read
Okay,
it out.
sure.
So we have Jaskirat Kaur ma'am saying, I do something similar with kids in my storytelling
Yeah,
workshops, and they weave stories around it, which is fun.
interesting.
And then another ma'am says, ma'am, firstly, we should positively impact with the students. And after that, students will be active. After this, we can arrange the activities. So first impact and engage, and then only the student will be active. After this, we can arrange the activities with some attractive game. That's what she's saying.
Sure.
And then Priya RL ma'am asked, nowadays kids are being more distracted due to more screen time. So how to manage such kids in the classroom?
So, see, as many of you know, what I do is work at CENTA. I'm not an active teacher like most of you, so my example might seem a bit theoretical to some of you, but at least whatever little experience I have, students are distracted when they think they are being taught something. They are very, very engaged if they think they are having fun. They use social media or screen time, etc., because that seems fun to them. But if you are able to make learning fun for them, they would focus on some of this. For example, Savita is asking for paragraph writing. What do you suggest? See, what I got those kids to do in that classroom was actually write a para of 5 sentences on a particular topic, right? And that topic was something which they themselves were generating. As an English teacher, it's very easy to incorporate this kind of an exercise. Whether you're talking about learning of grammar rules, you can always build lots of things that okay, you need to use only 3 letter words, or you need to start every noun with B, or you need to do ABC, or you need to do, or you need not, you cannot do so and so. You can cook up rules. So for English, creative writing, descriptive writing, grammar, this and that, it's very easy to incorporate this kind of thing. The challenge for the teachers here would be for something where you would need to extrapolate some of these learnings. Like if you're a math teacher or if you're a physics teacher in a senior grade, how can you make your classroom interesting? But then also, if you just start from the very basic thing of just observation, right? Can you get them to observe something, analyze something which they would like? And then from there, you start your class and then get to the topic you want to get to. So, like you're saying that you're teaching French for primary grades, how do you make them keen? So, see, the point is, if you kind of tell them that okay, if you know French, you can do ABC things, and figure out what kind of ABC things would they like. Figure out a very interesting fun cartoon movie, etc., which is in French, right? Try to see if you can show them that and get them hooked into understanding what is happening in that movie, and then try to see if learning French becomes more interesting for them or becomes more relevant for them because they like that cartoon movie. Anything else, Rasugi? Because otherwise, I
So
yeah.
there are few questions, but then I'm going to club them together. I think the core remains same. Please share some activities for secondary class students because most of the students after reaching the adolescence period are very hard to understand. So they sometimes are very eager and sometimes very uninterested. What can we as a teacher do to include them?
I would be very honest and say I'm probably not the right person to be able to answer that. As I shared, that some of the things which I share are based on my experience of running certain sessions in a certain way. I have typically interacted with primary and middle grade kids. What I will tell you about secondary and high secondary might be very theoretical and may or may not work for you. So I would rather not share any hypothetical ideas about those kind of things. But I still think that observation and analysis is something which you can engage kids on, irrespective of the grade they are in. Kids might be uninterested because they think you're teaching them. You take them to the playground and ask them to find certain things, observe certain things, make a list of certain things, ask them for some latest Netflix show, and figure out like a discovery program or a National Geographic program or a Netflix program which links to the topic which you're trying to teach. Ask them to watch it, ask them for certain questions of that, get them to play certain game, ask them questions basis whatever game you got them to play, etc. And these might be some of the ways in which more senior kids can get hooked to whatever you're trying to do in the classroom. Yes, educational trips to the heritage sites is a good example. Story making in a relay way is a very good variation of what I was talking about. Okay. With this, I would like to thank all of you for attending this session. I really hope that it made sense to all of you. It informed you about some of the new things, and you had as much fun in this session as in attending the session as I had in taking it. And hope that your kids, like your students, would benefit from some of the conversation we have had here. And do run this exercise with your students of just drawing out something and giving their imagination free rein. Have fun learning and have fun teaching. Thank you. Take care.